Hey folks, it's Ardwulf. Welcome. I am going to do a quick video showing you a piece of software that's been around for a while, but I have just recently downloaded, installed it, and have been fooling with it, called Vassal, or the Vassal engine. You can get this at vassalengine.org, and it is a open source Java software that runs on basically any platform. Mobile, you'll have to do some significant monkeying with it if you want to get it to work on mobile, but it's available for Windows, Mac, and Linux. It is open source, and what it does is it facilitates the play of board games online or locally on your PC. So you'll basically download the software. It's a pretty small piece of software. You'll install it, and then you'll look for modules based on the game that you would like to play. So for example, there are 1,675 modules right now. So if we want to look for example, a module for the video, for the game I just did a video on, Space Empires 4X from GMT, we can go down here, look for, where is it, Space Empires 4X. You can of course search, but that would be crazy, and download several different versions of the Space Empires module. Now, version 1 is just the base game. Version 2 includes the expansion as well. I don't own the expansion. For some reason, the size of the file is much larger. Generally speaking, you probably want the most recent version. I've downloaded the most recent version of the base game module, and we're going to fire that up in a minute. You don't even need to open Vassal. Of course, it'll put a icon on your desktop, but you don't even need to open it. You can just go down to Space Empires 1.3.3, double click on it, and it's going to open up. You'll see that I have for Close Encounters here as well. It's going to load the module, a substantial portion of which is images. And you'll get a module entry screen. This isn't just for war games, by the way. There are card games on Vassal. There are modules for card games. There are modules for Euro-style games. There are modules for basically anything you could really play with a board. Now, this isn't like a registration thing here. This is just so you can get into your module as you and not as some random person. You can, of course, register on the website as well. And we'll select a setup. We'll go with a, say, well, since we're not really playing, we'll go with 4-player normal or team. It'll load a game, and it will do, depending on the module. I mean, different modules are done by different people. This is all volunteer stuff. So different modules will show, we can reveal a marker. It's a nebula here, for example. It'll do parts of the setup for you. So pretty much you can just pull pieces and drag them around wherever you'd like them to be. For the most part, the modules that I have looked at are pretty much not at all automated. So you pretty much have to know the rules of the game. You basically have to, in most cases, probably you want a copy of the game. Although if somebody that's playing has a copy of the game, it's probably perfectly okay. There's actually a mini-map here, which is interesting. You can, of course, if you have stacks of counters, you can break it up, but it doesn't look like that applies here particularly. Like I said, you can move stuff around, you can zoom in or out. Every module is different. Some modules automate portions of the rules. Well, so let's see here. We can put a battle token here, for example. Oh, this actually takes us to the battle board. That's kind of awesome, actually. I haven't looked at this module particularly. You can roll a die. I rolled a 10. Woohoo. What do we got here? Switch teams. So you can retire as observer and join other sides. So I can start playing as the blue side, for example, if I am, for example, trying to solo this. What do we got here? You can hide the server controls. In some cases, you can hide the counters. So it's a pretty slick looking piece of software. It's of course totally free. Like I said, you do probably need the game for most games, but I think at least some older titles that may or may not have been in print anytime recently may have more or less everything you need with the possible exception of the rules. So you can obviously save games. I'll show you something else here. We don't need to save this. You can check server status. You can see what games are going on right now that are being played. So somebody's playing 1776. Some people are playing Andean Abyss. Some people are playing Barbarossa Army Group Center and North. Looks like it's one guy maybe soloing it or looking for players. So you can hop into one of these and say, hey, you need extra players. Federation Space, which is a Starfleet Battles type thing. This is Great Campaigns of the American Civil War. Don't know what this is. GMT's Wellington. Genesis, which just came out from GMT. Kingmaker Deluxe. Monopoly. There's somebody playing Monopoly on here. So this does show you that it's not just all war games. So you can hop in any of these. You can, for example, let's try and set up a game of the Dark Valley. So this is the list of the modules that I have installed. We'll just double click on that. It will load the module. Let's look for a game online. And what it'll do is it'll set up a room for me of me playing the Dark Valley. So I can now probably refresh this and see that, hey, that's me playing the Dark Valley. And then you can see here. Let's get the map up here. Now you can of course do voice chat while you're doing this, but you'd need Skype or TeamSpeak or something like that. So I haven't fooled with this that much, so I'm not entirely sure how. So we can load a game. Nope, that's not what we want. What we want to do, we can do Barbarossa. So this is actually going to load the game for me. Currently, only no games allowed in the main room. Create a new room to play. Well, it just created a new room for me, apparently. So here's the Dark Valley, and you'll see on this particular module, Soviet setup first. So you can, it's done a lot of the setup for me. A few of the German pieces are already placed. Again, this one's not particularly automated, so to move a piece, I can just highlight it and drag it to wherever I would like. Some games will center the pieces on a particular hex. This one will. You can mouse over a stack of units and get a little pop-up of the entire contents of the stack, or you can double-click on it to pull individual counters out, and you can right-click to get a context menu. Now again, this is all dependent on the module. Some modules are completely automated, some are just pretty much the map and counters or pieces, and you have to pretty much do it all yourself. But for the Dark Valley here, we have a thing with the charts. So we can, here's the terrain effects chart, here's the CRT, here's the list of action chits, or the list of the action chit availability chart, I should say. Here's the weather stuff. Here's the special access tables. Here are the special Soviet tables. So the rules aren't in here, but you can actually pull. So we have, let's see, Axis Order Battle. So here's the initial German setup here. So once the Soviets are completely set up, so to look at the Soviet setup, because the Soviets do set up first, they have to set up in these military districts. So this, let's see here, the Baltic military district is, I think, trying to figure out how it's designated on the map here. Here we go. So this this sort of reddish area here is the Baltic military district. So you put these units, subject to, of course, to stacking limits, and you can put them all here if you'd like. Need to go, we can highlight this stack and put it here. Subject, of course, to stacking limits, you can just drag these off and put them where you want. This stuff goes in the Western Military District, which is down here, so you can pull this stack, put it here in that fortress, for example, put the stack in that fortress. Probably this is a completely asinine way to set this up. Then once you have done the Soviet initial setup, then you can do the Axis initial setup and start setting up these Germans. So this is pretty slick. It's pretty cool. It has a number of advantages. First of all, you can potentially find players that you don't have locally online and play with them online. I would certainly want voice chat going for a multiplayer game of this or anything else. So there's like some veneer of social interaction. You can set up games that you don't have the space for at home. So for example, the Dark Valley, let's zoom out here. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this or not, but it's a 2-map game. It's not huge, but it's bigger than I have the space to set up on a single table at the moment. So this is something I could potentially set up and play in Vassal and or do videos on, for example, for those of us who are interested in that kind of stuff. without having to have buy another folding table and or have to worry about the cats coming by in the middle of the night chewing on my chits. I do have cats, the bane of wargamers, and this is a game in particular that you probably need 2 or 3 sittings to play through. So don't have to worry about that. You can obviously save the game when you leave. So if I close this, it'll ask me if I want to save it, for example. I'll say no because I'm not really playing. But this has a number of interesting features. Now, I think all other things being equal, I would rather play with actual people on a live tabletop with actual physical pieces that I can touch. But in some cases, there are what do I have that's super big here? So this is what I have installed. This is mostly stuff that I have, but in a couple cases it's stuff that I am like super pumped about, but I haven't bought yet, like Churchill, which is relatively new from GMT. Great War in Europe. This is not the version of Great War in Europe that I have. I have the old Command Magazine version. This is the GMT box version. Normandy 44 I don't have yet. That was just re-released by GMT. There's a lot of options here that this provides that circumvent some of the common issues people have with playing board games and playing war games in particular, where the audience is smaller. It looks to me, though, offhand, like a decent proportion of the games going on at the moment are in fact war games. I think Vassal was developed with war games in mind, but it's here's some people playing 40K, for example. Here's some people playing, a guy playing War Machine, so he might be waiting for some other people. TI3 Shards, that's probably Twilight Imperium. That's a crazy big game that takes forever to set up. In Vassal, you could set everything up, save the game, and then just pull it up when you want it. Summoner Wars, which I think is like a general interest board game or deck building game of some kind. Star Wars Armada, which is I think a minis game. Pixel Tactics, I don't even know what that is. Pax Baltica from GMT. Somebody wants to get a Panzer Blitz game going. Some of these people might be playing solitaire. They might be waiting for players. But you see how easy it is to get this going. The different modules are different sizes. So, for instance, I think the biggest module I have is probably 63 megabytes, and that's the Space Empires with Close Encounters. I've got 2 different ones at this point because I don't actually own the expansion at this time, and I don't want to really buy the expansion until I get to play the base game. So check it out, vassalengine.org. If there's something you would like to get a game going of, or you would like to see me try out on Vassal, please mention it in the comments below, and we can see what we can get started. So thanks for watching. I hope that you've found this informative, and I will see you next time.